Hi, and welcome to another episode of Conversation with a Chef. I'm Joe Vargetto, and I love sharing with you the conversations I get to have with talented and passionate chefs. It's the backstory, if you will, to the food they're putting up. I often have to pinch myself that all these incredible chefs are happy to sit down and chat to me. I'm very lucky. Sometimes I contact a chef I'd like to talk to, and then on the way to the chat, I have that whole imposter syndrome thing where I think, hang on a minute, this person's actually a really big deal. Who do I think I am? That's what happened on the tram on my way into the Melbourne CBD to talk to Joe Vargetto. He is a big deal. He represented Australia in the International Bocuse competition in 2001, has written a beautiful cookbook telling the story of his Sicilian heritage and how that fits within the Australian context. He has 2 very successful and long-standing restaurants, has worked with top chefs around the world, and is himself a top chef with seemingly boundless energy, drive, and a love for hospitality. As soon as Joe came out of the kitchen, well, apart from the fact he was looking for a guy because of my name, the conversation flowed, and I felt as though I'd made a new friend. With people like Joe around, Melbourne hospitality is in very good hands. I recorded this on Friday afternoon at Massi, Joe's city restaurant. It was the first Friday Massi was open after a year of being shut down due to the pandemic, and it had been a busy lunch. The background noise in this recording is pretty loud, but it's an absolute testament to the fact that Joe's guests did not want to leave and were very happy sitting around ordering more Campari and living life like it's golden. Hello, how are you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Well, I actually didn't realise you'd only just reopened on the 12th,
yes.
so I'm sorry. It probably was a really bad timing on my part.
Okay, no, that's fine. No problem. Just finishing up the service, so it's good.
Perfect. Lovely. I'm just to let you know that I'm recording this because I use it for the podcast as well as to write up the transcript.
Okay. All right.
Well, how was lunch today? First Friday lunch back.
First Friday lunch back was pretty big.
Yeah.
I think I underestimated the love of this restaurant. So this restaurant's been open for 6 years.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of those years was closed. So we closed on the 27th of March, and we didn't reopen until last week. So we did a few little functions leading up, private functions, and so on, just to clean everything, get everything back in order, check the gas lines, check everything else that was going on. And there wasn't that much cleaning to be done. We left it in a really good state, but I kind of tested the waters and asked a few people around here. I said, they're like, especially the barber, and she said, it's fantastic that you're opening, because a lot of people have been asking when it's going to open. Hopefully they haven't closed, but there's no real use kind of opening like the start of the year, because it was after Christmas. The people that had come into the city had vanished to go on holidays in the sense of regional areas and so on. Leading up to Christmas, there was a lot of euphoria, because it was not just the breakups on it. There was a few breakup function parties and so on. There was also summer. There was also Christmas. And it was also, the biggest one was for people to get out. And a lot of people weren't coming into the city still. They were just enjoying the time in the suburbs. And a lot of, like my other restaurant in Kew, we've created a real big following as well. In the sense, because, we open right through, we're delivering food to everyone in the local area. And I think they're showing us, they're showing how much they enjoyed helping them out. And then maybe because everyone's coming back into the city, it's a bit like they're pushing people into the city. How was it? Oh yeah, good. So another person's coming in. I remember coming in probably August, when it was in a really heavy lockdown. And I swear to God, no lie, I reckon I saw 4 people.
Yeah.
And those 4 people were coming off the tram and cleaning the poles.
Oh no, yeah. I guess too with hardly any office workers coming back to work in the city as well. You wouldn't have a Friday lunchtime like this a few months ago, but now people are coming in to work a lot more, and
And I think they've actually missed it.
yeah,
And I'm pretty much over the sense of where people are at with their lives as well. I think a lot of people have enjoyed the home kind of situation, but now it's getting to the point becoming a bit reclusive. So they want to see other people. I've seen how some have lost their ability to socialise. I've seen people's, now that we don't really need the social distancing, and you know, in the great in that extended amount, how people are kind of avoiding everyone. And maybe it just shows, what I've seen as well is the total human condition, from how others have tried to help, how others have tried to abuse the system, how others have tried to take advantage of others or make a profit out of others because they're trying to sell, trying to buy things in a time where others are kind of down on their luck. So for me, kind of still being very active, because of Mr. Bianco, I've seen the whole extent of, I call it the human condition. I don't know if that's a term to say it, but
absolutely. And I think it's interesting how some of these events can affect the way that we behave. And I was in Christchurch. I'm from Christchurch, and I was in Christchurch for the earthquakes, and some of the fallout, the human fallout from that years on is, I shouldn't say it's surprising, maybe it shouldn't be surprising, but just some of the things that in the way people behave, you wouldn't have thought that would be something. You think about earthquakes as being a natural disaster, you think about pandemics being kind of I suppose a human natural disaster, but and when you actually get to watch the progression, it is fascinating, frightening.
And the thing was, a couple of weeks ago, I got the jab, the COVID injection, and such great interest. Like people ask me, so what did you get? You're going to die? I heard a lot of.
What kind of a question is that?
Yeah, it's a bit like saying as well, you got into a car, did you die? Did you get into a plane, did you die? Are you sick? Because the amount of cases of deaths are really, really small comparatively. But I've always said the actual jab as well doesn't stop the transmission. So you may not die from COVID, but you're still going to pass it on. It's only a 30% chance, 30% decrease of transmission. So we really haven't solved any of the problems. No, that's the biggest one.
I just came in on the tram, and I thought one of the outcomes that I hadn't expected was a new trend in tagging. Someone's gone around tagging Pfizer onto walls, like a graffiti.
Yeah.
Okay. Fascinating.
Yeah.
So in terms of you and hospitality, I was going to say too that congratulations on your cookbook. It's
thank you.
Beautiful, and just the whole look of it is so sleek. And 240 pages that's a big book. Was that did it take you a long time to put that all together?
It's taken me, I think, probably 16 years, but not like 16 years doing it. It's like I was asked to do a book probably about 16 years ago. But I kind of thought, I don't want to be too political, I kind of thought if I'm going to write a book, I need to write something that is of worth. And it needs to be something that I'm going to be proud of. I need to leave a kind of a legacy, and especially the first one. The first one needs to be something of you're telling a story, and you're telling a story of not just your cooking, but also trying to bring people together, trying to do something, because what's written then is. So I had the chance to do a book a couple of times. I never really wanted to do those ones that if you want to make spaghetti bolognese, right? You can get on the Google and you can learn how to do whatever. But if the book to me is something that it's really kind of me. It's the sleek black outside is basically what I wear all the time. I just wear black all the time. And the designer spent probably a few weeks with me, and we were going down the path of this kind of, cover of, a few acknowledgements and bits and pieces. And then he came with this black thing, like, I don't know. And then we went from there. So it was a bit of a punt from the publisher as well, but he kind of came around and wanted to do it, and it's been selling really, really well.
Oh yeah, you've got had a second.
There's been a second print run. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's not a huge print run. We're talking probably 10,000. Like there's others that are but I think
I wondered because it looks like one of those notebook, those nice slick notebook journal, and I wondered, is that how you keep your notes and things?
So I wanted to have something that people can hold, so they could flip the pages and hold, and something that it looks like they want to put it in the kitchen or have it on the table, or something way different than all these kind of things at the front and cliche bits. You can always put another kind of paper cover around it if you have to, but it's...
No, it's beautiful. It's and it's lovely too. I think, and obviously Siciliano is you and your heritage and so on.
Yeah. So what it's about is basically my parents coming over here in 1956, and the story, not just of them, but also the story of Australia. How back then you couldn't get anything that was remotely Italian. And it's a kind of a two-pronged effect where it's the story of them being Australian, but it's also the story of Australia being multicultural. So it's a kind of melding of these 2 and 3 and 4 types of 5, 6, 7, 8 different kind of cultures, all melding together in Australia. But then how it was very, very difficult to get anything Italian, to a point now you can get anything Italian, and now like my guests or the clientele really want the next and third step of Italian cookery. They want to understand the regions, not just Italy. They want to understand where things are from, really from, not just it's Italian food,
Yeah. So what are the key elements of Sicilian cooking then?
The key elements is spontaneity. That's one of the key elements. The second key element is exquisite produce. Exquisite produce that's grown in small batches, let's say, or small lots, and each of that produce has its own individual style, like onions and carrots and that. And the next is basically understanding the season and the vibe of the food as well. It's very important is that when cooking the food, you want to do it because you're actually excited about cooking, rather than just it's something I want to learn, and once you've learned it, you put it aside. But the second time you come back, you have to relearn it again. So it's really just that's the dish, but you learn those processes, and then you can transfer it onto other dishes or take other flavors and create your personalized elements as well. You can take a bit of this, how to make cavatelli here and how to braise something over there, and create your own personal, and you have a very simple but yet delicious repertoire.
So I'm imagining from a New Zealander with English and Scottish heritage, I always imagine that people with Italian or Sicilian heritage, that your childhood was full of food and cooking and all that kind of thing. Can you tell me a bit about what it was like growing up with your family?
So, good question, because my next door neighbours, I grew up in an area where it wasn't conventionally Italian. It was Scottish, English. Next door neighbour was Janet Ferguson and Jim Ferguson, Scottish, from Edinburgh. And next door neighbours were English. So we were slap bang in an area where, number one, Mum couldn't get really very much produce or anything like that. And number two, it was also a kind of a time where a lot of the Italians were in the media for all the wrong reasons. You know, the organised crime and all those things in Griffiths. And Mum used to make all these different things like oregano and all these bits and pieces. And Jim and Janet thought, you know, look at that, they're drying oregano, must be like marijuana and so on. And we were doing a lot of stuff in the backyard, so all the pickling, all the salami, sausages, frugos, passati, everything was always in the backyard. There was always a hive of activity in the backyard, growing vegetables in the back. And Jim and Janet would always look over the fence, kind of, oh, what are you doing now? What are you doing that? What's that? Like, you know, sun drying tomatoes on the roof of the garage. And so I grew up in a literally, I didn't understand a supermarket. You know, Mum would go to the supermarket maybe to get flour, but she would never go to the supermarket to get bread. And she'd make her own bread, and I would go to school with this weird-looking bread, and I'd get picked on because of that. So, you know, tip-top, and like there would never ever be tip-top or any kind of sliced bread. So that's really, in essence, that's my upbringing, is that I grew up in a very, let's say, Anglo area, and the food that I was doing was very, very alien, you know. But then it was strange because as we all grew up, they wanted what I was eating, and I wanted what they were eating.
Yeah, of course.
So,
But you didn't initially think that you would be a chef. You started a commerce degree, is it?
That's right.
Yeah.
So I went to university, and I was good at it, no doubt. I was bored.
Yeah.
I was really bored, and I didn't know it at the time, or this philosophy at the time, but I think if you do something you really, really enjoy, you'll be good at it. If you're doing something that you really don't enjoy, you'll force yourself to kind of be good at it. But eventually, I think the twig is going to break, where you're either going to resent yourself or resent the people around you, or whatever the situation is. And I think you'll probably be slowly, whether depressed or, you know, you probably have some sort of, I don't know, kind of a mental issue that you hate what you do. Because work and artisan and doing things that you have relevance makes you happy. Now, if you do something and people say, that's really good, or I really enjoyed that, it makes you happy. But if you do something and you hate what it is, and people even compliment on it, you go,
Yeah.
So, and I know a lot of my friends, they got into law and accounting, they're great at it. I hate it.
Yeah.
Hate it. Absolutely. Absolutely hate it. So, the funny thing was, I think I have a very strange mind in the sense of I'm very good at bookwork or studies, but I'm also good at kind of being very creative, coming up with ideas and, you know, going for it, never kind of relenting, and my thirst for results is unwavered. So I think that's maybe the mix between all these different things.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, what is it about being a chef that really appeal to you? But I guess it's those things, that creativity and the fact that you're constantly learning. So obviously, you have achieved great accolades with the Bocuse and having 2 restaurants that are very well spoken of. Is that?
Thank you.
But you seem very calm, you know. So you're not. How have you? How have you? That's just what you do. And I've also seen photos of you on a bike. So obviously, well-being
exactly.
is part of your thing
I
as well.
think the reason why I'm not always I'm calm, but I think the reason why I am is that I kind of like the fast lane.
Yeah.
So like sitting down for me is calm. Like I like doing many things at once, and I think I'm very confident in what I do. And it's not the fact that it's egotistical, it's just that I'm confident because I've been doing this for now 27 years, from when I was 20, let's say, 19, and I think I've said to myself, if people don't like it, it's either I've got to look at myself and say, well, if people don't like it, there's probably a reason for it. if people do like it, continue the formula. Enjoy what you're doing. Have people around you that you like working with or you like being with. So there's definitely a lot of team here and at Mr. Bianco. I like that. I like going to work. I like, and I think the bike as well gives me an element of, any second you can get hit by a car. You can get, so
it wasn't what I was expecting, but yes, that is true. Yes, you can.
You can get hit by a car. You're literally this far away from a truck, and I've been hit a couple of times. Even a doctor said to me that I don't know how you're still here, Joe. Like another second, if you were in an intersection a second or 2 seconds earlier, you'll probably have to go downstairs to find your body, Joe, in the hospital. So I think I've kind of been slapped around that. It's just not slapped around, but in the sense I've had all those experiences that I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I enjoy being in the kitchen. And the thing is, I don't have to be here in the kitchen. I actually like being here in the kitchen.
That's right. Yeah.
I like cutting, chopping, cooking. There's a lot of chefs that don't. They resent what they do. They hate what they do, and that's why they're kind of angry. Because they try to get out of the kitchen, or they're trying to do what they're trying to pursue, but they can't, because I always say is that you lay your foundations when you're young or early, that hopefully blossom. It's always a risk, but hopefully blossom when you get older, and then some of the sacrifices in your early life come to fruition.
And you travelled quite a lot and worked overseas when you were younger as well. Do you think
some of the greats and it wasn't easy to work in those kitchens. It was, it was like military on steroids, So maybe that was it as well. Like just having that interaction, or situations where, every day you go to work and you go, I've got to do better, I've got to challenge myself, and again, kitchens are all about timing about, which is very, very important. So
I think what I gleaned from looking through stalking you on Instagram is just the people aspect is obviously really important for you, and you've made some really great connections over the years, and I like that you celebrate that. So you celebrate your staff, and there was a lovely photo of you with Philippe Michel, and with your book, giving him your book.
Yes.
And I just think that's really important as well, those connections, and surely that's what hospitality is, about human connection.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely is. There's no doubt about that you can't. Because what you have to think about is that when you come into someone's restaurant, is that you come into actually someone's extended dining room. So it's either you say, okay, I'm yours for this evening, I'd love to experience what you have, or you can go in and say, oh, I want this, I want this. And you know what? You're probably not going to have a good time, because you're demanding something from an established restaurant. They're not really ready to do, because it's not in their repertoire. They can cook you a well done steak, it's all right. But or you want something from this and something of there, but it hasn't been geared, it hasn't been practiced, it hasn't been so on. So it's probably going to come off all wrong, So I always say, if you go into someone's house, you don't go in and say, oh, your light could have been different over there, and I don't like your couch, and I don't like that. You're gonna feel and there's all, there's some restaurants that are just there to make money. There are some restaurants that are there to, really give the guest a beautiful time. There are some restaurants that are, staunchly do what they do, and if you don't like it, you can, But I'm more of a thing. I can accommodate anyone to a point, but at some point it's really going to be difficult for me to do that, because I don't either have it in house, or we just don't use it. You don't just do that.
Yeah. And I mean, you've obviously got a tried and true recipe for your restaurants as well. Thank you. And when you talk about spontaneity as being a key element, how does that transpose to your menus? Are you changing them often? Does it come through?
I think menus are one of these things that you need to really pay homage to your regular clientele. And you need to change I think your 30% of the menu very often, and some things need to stay there all the time. So when there's something that you do really well, don't change it.
Yeah.
Keep it on. People want to come there for the signature dish, let's say. If it's really good, they'll keep on coming there over and over again because of those dishes. But there are seasons as well, so you need to incorporate elements of your menu, which is celebrating the seasons as well. There are some things that you can get kind of all year round, but there are some things that you need to kind of celebrate, like, let's say pine mushrooms at the moment. We're in season now, and so you really want to, say, okay, it's pine mushroom now, or it's like prickly pear season now, or it's that now. So you kind of manipulate the menu to always kind of have all these heroes on the menu.
And what would be your advice for any young people who were thinking about becoming a chef?
Great question, and I think my advice is that you need to first make a decision, is that do you want to do this? And if the answer is yes, then you have to give it 135,000%. Because there's not because this industry, like in any industry, to get to the top, you need to work hard at it. You can't just get to the top by blagging your way up or lying. Because I always say there's always going to be days where it's kind of judgment day. And in restaurants, the judgment day is every day. Because your guests come in, they try the food, the service, the atmosphere, the ambience, and the generosity. So you can't you can have a really good profile on Instagram, out there, but the real take is the word of mouth, and you can't buy word of mouth. You can't buy an advertisement. You can get influencers and things like that to come in and talk, whatever. But you're then having people into your restaurant, so they've heard it's great. But if they come and it's crap, it's actually doing more detriment. Because bad news spreads faster than good news. So if good news is going at this speed, bad news is going at this speed. So my biggest advice is that focus on your craft. Try to create a style, whether it be front of house or back of house, and pursue that. Really pursue it. Really give it a go. Don't go kind of halfway or I didn't like it because of that person or this person. Blame yourself, I think. Don't blame others for your fault, and then blame yourself if you're good as well. Really give yourself compliments, because so work. No, I wouldn't say work hard, like every day, burn yourself out, but you need to give yourself to your profession. If you can, great, because it's either you're going to work hard early in your life and you may get the fruits of your labours later on, or if you get to 40, 45 or something like that and go, I wish I could have done that, I wish I could have done that. It's too late.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Conversation with a Chef with Joe Vargetto at Massi. If you want to experience all the greatness for yourself, which of course you do, you can find Joe at 445 Little Collins Street in the city or at Mr. Bianco on High Street in Kew. And check out the photos of some of the dishes on Instagram at Joey Vargetto. As for me, I'm also on Instagram at Conversation with a Chef. And if you want to read the chat, you can head to www.conversationwithachef.com. I would absolutely love it if you told a friend about my chats. And of course, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts or click follow on Spotify so I know you're there. Once again, thank you. Have a great day and see you next time.